Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your 2023 breakdown. I want to say thank you for having a little patience. I've been doing a video a day. It amounts to about 5 hours worth of recording and editing. So today is your day, and I do appreciate your patience for sticking with me. Thank you. We are going to go over your New Year's chart. That means this is set to the new year, but it has Aquarius on the rise. So the horizon line, the ascendant is Aquarius. If you have an Aquarius ascendant, Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, or Saturn, I think all of them can gather good information from these readings. That being said, we are going to get into it. You have currently half of your chart is where all of the planets fall. That means half the sky has all the planets. They start at Capricorn, and for you that means just above the horizon, and they end at the end degrees of Gemini. There are a couple other entities that are in your chart that we'll get to, which is Black Moon Lilith, and I'll explain that at the time, and Pallas Athena, which is an asteroid, and Sirius, which is also an asteroid, and then the South Node in Scorpio. But first off, Aquarius. Aquarius, as you may know, I'm going to go over it with you, is the sign that represents the 11th house of the Zodiac. It is community, it is technology, science, genius, friendship, people associated with your life purpose, your soul group. I don't know if I said humanitarianism, but humanitarianism, environmentalism. This is the sign that rallies for the underdog. Usually the air signs are connected to more social aspects in our day-to-day lives, with Aquarius being the final air sign, and that means it represents the upper half, last quadrant of the zodiac, which is the collective. So it is about collective mindset. It is the energy where we look for channeling for alternative events or ideas or situations. It is alternative wherever it falls in the chart, or Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, wherever that falls in the chart, we see unusual aspects of that particular energy. Currently, it's in Taurus, and so the Taurus energy shows us more eclectic ways of displaying our fashion sense, our aesthetics, arts, music, singing. There are alternative styles brought in at this time. Because you have an Aquarius rising or another aspect to Aquarius, it is the energy that expresses all of these things, the alternative, the unexpected. It is quantum energy, which means it is ruled by not linear modalities. And so energy comes at us from all directions, which makes us feel a little bit more eccentric or fickle or unstable. But in true reality, quantum is the way energy moves in our universe. Quantum is the way our energy moves in the universe. So you are actually in great alignment with the future, and you probably already feel this. Aquarius is the energy that may make us feel like we're out of place. I think that energy is going to subside over the next few decades because Aquarian energy will be the norm. So I hope that makes you feel a little better in your day-to-day life. Currently, you have the planet Saturn, which naturally rules Capricorn and is the planet of structure, career, and life purpose, in your first house. So what this means is the natural energy of the first house is how you express your identity. It's where we look for how you project your personality in social situations and to other people. And so you have this beautiful kind of aura about you. Aquarians tend to be have a clear energy about them. There's something clean in how they present themselves, and they can have very nice eyes, whether they're large. You do have the energy of Pisces in the second house for you, which is the body. So there can be a similarity to Piscean energy, but if you don't have the large eyes, you have a clear vision, clear-eyed impression to people. That being said, you may have eye issues, as the vision and being a visionary or clear sight is something associated with Aquarius. If there are afflictions to your energy, your vision could come under attack. Aquarius is also an energy where we see a detachment from the norms in society. So if you have it in the first house, there may be kind of a sense of otherness in social situations. If you have it on the cusp, the cardinal cusps, the second one is the Cancer cusp, which is home and family. You may have a detachment from your family. You may not feel like you fit in, or you may not want children, or you may not get along with your parents or your mother specifically. There's some kind of disconnect there. If you have it in the house of marriage and partnership, which is the Libra house, that can mean that you really don't feel a need to connect to a partner in this life. Marriage may not be an option for you, or you have an alternative lifestyle, such as recently LGBTQ, where that marriage option wasn't necessarily recognized and still isn't in many places, but there's an alternative to that particular storyline in society. Or at the midheaven, you may earn your living or have a career in a way that is different than the norm. And the norm has historically been going away to work at a bricks and mortar building. Your Aquarian midheaven for a career indicates not only that you may be more of an entrepreneur, you don't really resonate to the norm of whatever that is. And paternal energy is strong at the midheaven. So there can be a disconnect from the father figure if you have strong Aquarius energy in the middle of the top of the chart. Or currently with Saturn in your first house, that is the sign of father and career. So there again could be a disconnect, or not, like you don't really resonate to your father's energy or how he has earned a living or his ideology. And you may feel that you need to express something different in your life. Now you're taking responsibility and ownership. That's Capricorn. It's responsibility for whatever house it falls in. And if it falls in your first house, it's 2.5 years of learning how to own the energy of whatever is on the first house cusp. And that is Aquarius. So you're really having to come into your own voice around being a unique individual, having alternative things that you enjoy, alternative situations, scenarios, people, and even a personality that comes across as more enigmatic or eccentric. Having Capricorn in the first house can also mean that you're earning living through your career or life purpose based on your ego or your sense of self. So because it is detachment, there may also be a storyline of responsibility around a certain detachment from your sense of self. That is going to shift as Saturn moves into Pisces in March. Saturn in Pisces will let or release the energy of Saturn in Aquarius, and really you will be embraced by more of the community as a deeper feeling connection increases with Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is the energy of agape love, which means universal love and unconditional love. So going from this sense of maybe detachment from self, or detachment even from self-love, as Saturn moves into Pisces, there is this kind of summer of love, awakening of universal love, where we feel very connected to other people to the point of maybe even codependence. So you go from that complete detachment energy of Aquarius into a much more embracing and absorbing energy of love and connectedness, which can be expressed through creative means. Pisces is the energy of universal appreciation of the arts. So it can be a renaissance time for the next 2.5 years. We are back in the humanities, back in beauty and art and music, and things that really bring us together in society much stronger. So if you're an artist, this can mean that you are now expressing yourself in a way that will bring in money, the money you may have desired, which may have been elusive. Aquarian energy can have a certain detachment from regular society norms, such as earning money as a means of energy exchange for value. And Pisces is a more intensified version of Venus energy, which is our desire. And so Pisces energy is the idealism or the vision for the future, as opposed to just a desire to do something. You're completely enmeshed and engaged as a passion, maybe even a fixation or a codependence. And so that energy can come out of your life when Saturn moves into Pisces. Again, it's about 2.5 years through that sign. Currently, you have Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and that has brought in this intensified energy for your second house. The second house is the house of love and money and value. So, where are your values and how do they express in energy through gaining abundance, gaining love, gaining income? Saturn being career and life purpose moving into Pisces in your second house does highly accent the energy of money and career. Vesta, the asteroid of home and hearth, is also in this house at 14 degrees, which means there is kind of a cocooning and a pulling back of energy to be stronger in your home environment. You may earn money in the home environment, which is actually a stronger storyline coming in for society. We got a taste of it when we had lockdown a couple years ago, but Saturn moving into Pisces can create that energy once again, and it can be a prolonged energy of holding up, especially for Aquarians, holding up in the home and feeling much more nurtured, much more at ease in a home or environment that is nurturing. It doesn't have to be home, but it is about your soul group as a collective emotional body versus the soul group of Aquarius, which is a group intellectual, higher awareness. Juno, the final entity transiting your house of love and money, your second house of being in a couple, is the energy of marriage. So there may be some marriage energy on the horizon for you at this time, having had Neptune there and then Saturn coming into Pisces and Juno exiting Pisces. It looks very strong that there is an idealized partner coming in for you at this time. Saturn moves into Pisces in March, if I didn't say so. So you're going to get the energy not only of Saturn in Pisces going out, Saturn going out of Aquarius into Pisces, so coming into your second house, but also Pluto moving into your first house come March, which is going to be an enormously strong energy around awakening, around clarity, a shift. There is a mental shift. There is an ideological shift from conservatism to something more liberal, to something more inclusive. That is the energy. There will be a need for grounding with this energy. And you may find that energies coming in are everything I said about Aquarius is going to accent it more, but the difference between Saturn in Aquarius and Pluto in Aquarius is that Saturn wants to take the energy to task and get it shored up and organized and legitimized, whereas Pluto is looking for the value and how you are valued by others, like the collective energy of human value back and forth. So we're really in a cycle of jumping off around valuing every individual in the collective. So we're all valued, but we're valued as individuals within a group. So each cog in the machine is valuable because without each individual cog, the machine doesn't run well. So that's kind of the energy of Pluto coming in. It is going to be a watery, intense, moody, emotive energy, which in Aquarius, the energy is learning to be less moody and emotional and more detached and clear-minded. But the energy of Pluto can bring down Aquarian people and bring in the energy of the subconscious much more strongly. So look to what motivates you, what psychologically motivates you, and what your mental issues are as integrating emotion and mindset comes in over the next 20 years. Pluto does not exit Aquarius until 2044 and fully not until 2046. Your third house is your house of communications, transportation, and messages. It is the lesser intensity of Aquarius because it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury is intellect, it is communication, it is technology as it relates to small appliances, specifically the computer versus Aquarius, which is the internet. So we'll see more intensified energy for you around expressing the masculine side of yourself. It is, the Pisces energy expresses the feminine, but the Aries energy expresses the masculine. So masculine communication techniques are more assertive and aggressive. We are willing to speak our minds. We are willing to take action on what we say we want to do. And it is almost an instantaneous, if I think it, then I do it. If I say it, then I want to do it. There's no delay with the fire signs, and specifically Aries. And Jupiter in Aries only lasts until Jupiter stays in Aries until May 5th. And so you will have the first part of the year reviewing the energy of self or identity and marketing and promoting you and what you do, what you have to say. And it is more assertive, aggressive, ambitious. So it brings the energy of technology into the fire sign, the fire energy. It is marketing and sports. It is sports figures and athletes. It is also construction, building, and guns and knives. It is aggression and violence, which we will see more of the first 5 months of this year, because Jupiter in Aries is much more forthright, like, I'm just going to hit it. I'm going to be aggressive and assertive, versus when Jupiter moves into Taurus after May 5th, the energy is going to be ruled by Venus, but also it can show an abusive side, but it's more of punishing and physical. And so I'm just a bit more concerned this year about the energy of aggression and how it expresses in society being a little bit more abusive between Aries and Taurus. Moving on with the Taurus energy, though, we are going to see Taurus in your, well, Taurus rules your fourth house of home and family, and that is Venus as a ruler. So whenever Venus shifts, you feel it in the home energy. And same for when Mars shifts, you feel it in your communications house and how you interact with people, how you think, how you want to move and act and do. Taurus energy is right now currently being triggered by Uranus, which again is the Aquarian energy. So you've been dealing with this for about between around 7 to 8 years. Uranus has been really showing you how you can get outside of your slow moving dogma around your vision for aesthetics. Like maybe you have a style that you express at home. Uranus has been changing that style, wanting you to change it up, showing you how things can be different. And then because Uranus is so closely linked to Aquarian energy, it is also the energy of entrepreneurship. So there may have been some type of retail business that you've been trying to continue growing through the last few years in the home sector. The North Node has been conjunct with Uranus in your home, and that is a destined moment in time associated with having your own mind, your own independent thought, your own independence in business and also finances, income. What is your value in the home? Are you valued? Do people value you? Are you valuing you? That's all part of the Taurus energy. The year came in with Moon in Taurus near the North Node and Uranus. So this is a year where you are really called to express yourself creatively. Look at the desires around love, around money. Maybe you have an alternative way of thinking of love. Maybe you're expressing yourself in a more independent minded way with your children or your family or your partner. You could bring in a partner who is a little bit different, or maybe you did when Uranus came into your house of home and family. It's going to be there still for a couple years at least, and it doesn't go very fast every year. Just to give you an example, Uranus was at 15 degrees of Taurus at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year, Uranus will be at 19 degrees of Taurus. So it's only 4 degrees that it transits, and there are 30 degrees in each sign. So that's roughly 7 years of time to 10 years of time, depending on the orb and which sign in the zodiac we're in. So as Jupiter goes into Taurus, like I said, May 5th, you will find the energy is expanded. You want to grow something. You may bring in a possible love interest, even a foreign love interest, who you end up moving in with, or it could be even a roommate. It could be some situation that you'll have to explore. Travel. Jupiter rules long distance travel. It's broader exploration of interests. It is spiritual growth and higher education. So there may be some training energy coming in, learning about other domestic things that enhance your ability to do things. So sewing or crochet, domestic energies, cooking, etc. That's going to go on through the end of the year as well. Jupiter goes all the way, usually he'll get pretty far into the degrees of his sign, and then he'll shift and go backwards for part of the year, and then go back direct at the end of the year. So by the end of this year, Jupiter will be at the number of 5. Will only be at 5 Taurus. So he goes pretty far, retrogrades in the middle of the year, stays retrograde for 3 or 4 months, and then goes direct at the end of the year to finish out the year at early degrees again. And then next year, he'll be moving very quickly, probably in the first 2 months, through all of the degrees of Taurus. So this energy is going to strongly be affecting your house, home, and family. So you will find there is a tremendous energy coming in about moving, being active, getting out and about, definitely being in nature, probably even expanding your garden, being that you have an Aquarius rising or Aquarius planets, having the Taurus energy strong, connected to your ruler, Uranus, is going to really enhance your desire for growing food out of the home, having a cleaner diet. That's been a storyline that's been coming in for the last few years for you. Okay, moving on to your 5th house, which is romance, creativity, children, and leadership. This is the energy of Gemini, and Gemini is very motivated towards communication, towards education, and small pets. It is reptiles, children, neighbors, and siblings. You feel a strong pull towards shoring up your relationships with siblings at this time. Mars is a drive towards taking action around neighbors, neighborhood, having some personal power within your home environment, and connecting to children in a strong way, especially through education and young children. Mars retrograded the end of last year in August and goes direct January 12th. Until January 12th, the energy of Mars retrograde in Gemini means that there's some type of communication that has to happen around children, whether it's with a teacher or aunts and uncles, or some type of communication storyline that has to happen in that arena. And it may even be with a romantic partner or a friend. And what happened is there are some communications that have been kept secret or were duplicitous, not coming to you in integrity. When Mars went retrograde, you may have found out what they were. You may have decided that there are 2 alternative options for romance, 2 friends that you're bringing in that maybe you don't want to have friendships with both. You have to decide. It's duality, and it is the decision of which way you're going to take action in the long run. And the culmination of that storyline will initiate when Mars goes direct, but really finish off once Mars gets out of the house of romance, creativity, and children and gets into the Cancer energy. March 25th is the demarcation of Mars going into Cancer, 25th, 26th. So know that when Mars gets to Cancer, it's going to be the culmination of a storyline around your house of romance, creativity, children, and taking ownership or taking an authority position, or the drama of the situation will calm down, because Mars in Cancer is much more thoughtful in the home environment. It's much more aware of emotions, and it translates energy from your romantic sector and your children's sector into to work and service. So instead of being like this big dramatic situation with a choice between 2 things, now you know which choice you're going to make, and you're going to start to express your energy much more focused on work and health and being of service, especially around the home and children and domestic events. Because your house of work is ruled by Cancer, it can change rapidly throughout the month. Every time the moon changes, you may find a different desire towards your work environment. But it's also a very nurturing place for you, and you may even have your work environment be where you live, and vice versa. Like your home may be your work environment. And it can, if it doesn't translate to a home, it translates to domestic energies such as sewing, like making things, creating things, interior design, and maybe even art in some fashion, or design in some fashion, or cooking and restaurants, and a way of nurturing through food. Okay, moving into the upper half of your chart, you don't have any planets in 5 houses right now, which doesn't mean you don't have influence. It just means the time of year that those planets transit, you will be more aware of that energy. So Leo time, which is late July, early August. Late July, early August is the Leo time, which puts more of an accent on romance and partnership for you. And there may be even a connectedness to your children with your partner. So that's like a really tight, cohesive unit between your marriage partner, your spouse, and your children. Or there's a playful energy coming in with your spouse, and you'll get out and have more fun that time of year. Anytime there's a transit, and keep in mind the moon does transit all those houses every month, so you will get the energy monthly. The next house, Virgo, is the Virgo time of year, or Mercury changing signs and influencing that kind of energy. You can get influence on commitment, legalities, value of self to others. So how people pay you, the value you get, and also goods of the deceased, death and rebirth, and kind of the mysterious side of life and research. So all of that is scorpionic energy, but it's expressed with Virgo, which means it's very meticulous. You keep track of family money. You want to know what's going on with the money and with the direction of contracts and legalities within the marriage connection. It can also be associated with partnership. It doesn't just have to be the energy of Scorpio, but it can be connectedness to, and not just the energy, not just the energy of marriage, but also partnership and legal connections to other business partners. Scorpio energy can show us where we're passionate, and Virgo energy is a little less passionate. It's much more androgynous energy, but it is the energy of teachers and research. So you probably are well, you're highly intelligent from an Aquarius rising or planetary standpoint, but Virgo in your 8th house makes you not only meticulous about doing things and, the material, administrative, taking notes kind of thing, but it is the scorpionic energy, which also enhances the mind to research and understand things on a deeper subconscious level. So the two together are really powerful energy in your chart. Libra rules your 9th house of travel, and this means that you really do like having someone to go places with, travel with. You may find that spiritual energy is enhanced for you when you join a group. And when the Libra energy is triggered, which is the Libra time of year, late September, early August, October, that's when your travel sector is much more triggered to do something and to be more diplomatic with others, to find some type of cooperative venture and express it out with another person. Midheaven is Scorpio, and Scorpio is connectedness to other people. It is the commitment, is the deep emotional, passionate side of your personality. And it does square your sun sign or rising sign or other planets in Aquarius, but it is career and life purpose. And so for you, you need to be passionate. You need to be connected in on an emotional level to your career. And when the planets go through Scorpio or Pluto is affected, it will affect your career. So this year, the Scorpio time of year is going to affect you. And that's all the planets transiting Scorpio is between late October and early November. And also this year in March, Pluto, your ruling planet, goes from the subconscious and deep Piscean house, the 12th house in Capricorn, which has been creating more subliminal structures. You're really good with designing things in the subconscious to be brought out into the material world. And that energy has been going on for a good 14 years. Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008 for good. And so that was the housing market shift, which was your house of money from career. And so there may also be a connectedness to the Sagittarius energy around making money. So that is athletics, spirituality, including, priests and authority figures around the church or even other types of spiritual growth. It could be being a yogi. It could be yoga, athleticism, training, having a job in an educational setting, or education is part of your career. And then with the Pluto energy in the 12th house, it's all the Capricorn energy that came in on New Year's Day. So New Year's Day, you had the Sun in Capricorn, you had Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, and Venus in Capricorn joined up with Pluto in Capricorn. So it's a really potent energy for you in the subconscious. This is the wise person, the shaman. Pisces energy of the 12th house means that you have the wisdom of all the other signs put together. It is universal love and also psychic awareness. This can be a little bit more difficult with Capricorn on that house or any of the earth signs on the 12th house, because you want to express this esoteric energy, this hard to define energy, in a very practical, pragmatic, defined way and a conservative way, which tells me that you may have a more conservative way of looking at spirituality. That energy can really shift as Pluto moves into Aquarius, and things that you may not have felt were possible can really show themselves in your day-to-day life, such as small hints that there is more to the world than just the material. If you're watching this video, there's already an inclination to something that's a little bit metaphysical or esoteric beyond your normal restrictions, but it does bring a certain structure to the subconscious and to your psychic awareness. So your chart could also be very psychically in tune, and you may be someone who brings that out to the public or creates some type of structure, like Louise Hay, who created this publishing company called Hay House, which publishes metaphysical books. It's a very physical structure and a practical type of endeavor around that metaphysical environment. So when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it is going to light up your sense of self with a whole new way of looking at things. And that will bring in this alternate way of seeing religion, seeing the structure of the universe. And I've got chills with that when I tell you. But that being said, that is kind of the year in a nutshell. The last thing I want to bring to you is when Mercury retrogrades, there will be 4 Earth energies of Mercury retrograde. And then the final one of the year, the 4th Mercury retrograde, starts in Capricorn but ends in Sagittarius. So the year begins with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, which is the subconscious. And that means that some energy around structure is not being forthright with you. It's not literal, which is the energy Capricorn likes. Capricorn likes things very practical, pragmatic. And if you tell a Capricorn influenced person that something's going to happen, you better do it, because they will hold you to it. Mercury retrograde pulls back that energy and makes it a little less stable. And so there's been an energy, especially with Pluto joined Venus, about what subconsciously is going on with the feminine energy, with the receptive energy, the structure of women in society or women in your personal life, and subconsciously, where do you stand with your own feminine nature and your feminine desires. And so that's going to be a strong theme coming into this year about really shoring up the receptivity of your psyche, your ability to allow things to happen and allow your fortune to come to you, allow other people even to take responsibility for the subconscious energies going on. It is also a really strong energy around shoring up maybe coping mechanisms that you have for, things like anxiety or OCD and behaviors other people do. So just know that that energy is there, and mental health is going to be a big influence this year for you, and getting clear about your own motivations in life. The second Mercury retrograde is in Taurus, and that's around May. That's going to highlight home and money and love. So you're going to see how things are going to play out there. Uranus is down there. Mercury will enhance the energy of Uranus and vice versa. So it is going to be alternative energy associated with home and family, love and money. And then the final the third Mercury retrograde, final retrograde of Mercury in an earth energy, is Virgo in your 8th house, which is the subconscious, subliminal, and the tasks associated with having to deal with things going on behind the scenes. It is this being of service behind the scenes on some level, but also informational and keeping of information and emotions. And it could be a little bit restrictive for your emotions, having Mercury in the 8th house, and then Mercury going retrograde is going to bring out something that wasn't out in the open, and maybe some documents that were hidden from you or that you didn't know about. And it could also mean wills, getting your will together and then adjusting your will as Mercury retrogrades. And that included in this energy is also law, lawsuits, legalities, any kind of legal documents that have to be really taken care of this year. And then when Mercury goes direct, it'll release the energy, and you'll understand more clearly what has to be done and how to shore it up before Mercury goes into Libra. At this point, I do want to say I have an extended reading available to everyone for every sign in the links below. If you want to know more about your year month by month, I do break it down in the extended readings on my Patreon page. It is a minimal fee if you want to see. It's only $1, and you can get access to it by going to Patreon in the link below. And then finally, at the end of the year, mid-December, around December 15th, there's a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, early degrees, and it goes back into Sagittarius in your house of community associated with your life purpose. And so you're going to see some shoring up of the energy around that. It's going to be what are the deeper motivations for your conservative or restrictive view of things that are esoteric and subliminal. It is also the energy of film, the 12th houses, and Capricorn rules it for you. So film and video and genealogy, things like that, vintage energy coming from the past and the elderly. All these planets in Capricorn may mean that there is someone you have a deep connection to who's older, who may be going through a life transition at this time. But the last Mercury does affect your 11th house, which is friendships. And if there's someone who is traveling to you, or you were traveling to see a friend, that probably isn't going to turn out the way you think it will. It's going to be a really tough year this coming year for travel again at Christmas time. So just be aware and be prepared. With that, I want to thank you for coming by and listening to the video and being patient for it, and have a great year. And I wish you all the best. It's going to be quite a wonderful, expansive, and unexpected energy coming in with Pluto and Aquarius. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at AstroEnergy Astrology Show.